Hey everybody, Ben here. Thanks for clicking on the video. Thanks for showing up for yourself each and every day. So I have a message here. This one's a bit interesting. Came to me this morning before I got set up. But two keywords: presentation and entrapment. I'm going to figure out how all these connect to. Technically, what everything came to me, I think we got a pretty good starting point. So in the very beginning, there was writing on someone's article of clothing that I was drawn to read. It's there, it's presented, and I was drawn to read it, and I'm reading it while looking in that place. The person was yelling, "Why are you looking at me? Why are you reading that?" And I didn't respond, but in your head, you're like, "Well, why the hell are you wearing it there? Why are you drawing someone's attention to that?" And then I was drawn back to this space last night. I was on YouTube, and I don't know what they call it. I think ASMR or ASRM. It was just like a cooking process. And I was watching it, and I got so irritated during it. And I didn't know why. So I stuck around to find out, why am I so irritated? And the noises were just like triggering so much. And what really came to the point was we're taking something that's so simple and making it so complex. It is staged, it is a presentation, you know, it is perfect. And then what kind of stewed off of that is, online here, any video or social media in general, it is staged. We got these great pictures. I'm here, look at me, big smile, everything's perfect. And that's not real life, you know. So then I was drawn to like excuse me, looking up like a recipe. And you see the picture and it looks all perfect, and then other people maybe make a review and they put their picture up and it looks like a fucking dumpster fire, you know. And then what came to me was the idea that we're trying to replicate something that someone else is doing, and it turns to shit because it's inauthentic. We're trying to do what other people are doing, and it's not. It's kind of false in a sense because it's not us. We're following word for word, or what is it, verbatim of what they're doing, and we're trying to recreate something that's not ours, and it's inauthentic. So how could it be perfect in our little experience? And of course, a lot of these things are perfect. They are presented perfectly. And is this a type of entrapment that is we're funneling all of our energy to try to recreate what everybody else is doing, or something like along those lines, when in fact we're just there's not going to be any reward that we're seeking because it's not us. It's not us being authentic at all. And we could just look at cooking in general. Oh, here we. This is what happens when we try to recreate something of others. It's inauthentic. I already said that. But presentation. So back in the day, uh, I would cook a lot. If I lived with someone or I had guests, and I enjoyed cooking, and I think I was pretty good at it. I never really followed recipes. I would look them up to see what's in it if I'm missing something before I make it. And someone asks, how do you make it? I said, I don't know. You just make it. Now, I'm not saying I know how to make everything, but I know enough that we can build off of that, if you will. But there was a time I was like, oh, it's all about the presentation, because it's coming from a place like my food's not good enough, which I know it is, but it's good to my taste buds. Maybe it's not good to everyone else's taste buds. So I need to make it look prettier. And in the reality, it's our taste buds. Let's just go with people taking pictures of their plates at restaurants or what they made. The presentation. Look how great it's going to taste. Well, it could look great. It could taste like shit. I can tell you that. And when going back to those folks, that it looked like a dumpster fire compared to the picture online, doesn't really matter what it looked like, because really, what is it doing? We're tasting it. It's going in there, and that's what's going to matter. Sure, you could put way too much salt in it, but it could look great. You could use sugar instead of salt. Is that going to taste good? I don't know. It depends what we're making, you know. It is truly what's in it that matters versus what it looks like. And we could utilize this off of social media in general, a video. You know, are my teeth perfect? Do I look perfect? Do I have impurities? You know, is that going to hold back from getting the message? Granted, there is a place online here that it has to be flashy to grab someone's attention, to pull them in. And if it has to, and it sucks because there's so much talent and greatness out there that's not seen. And it makes you wonder if the flash is what uh, obviously is grabbing attention, but does it have any validity? Is there anything beneficial there? Is it just hooking you in, entrapping you to something that is completely worthless? Kind of like that video that I watched yesterday. Yeah, we could call it an art form, and I'm not knocking it if that's something you're into or do. But is there anything beneficial there? When we get into those and we just flip and flip and flip, are we gaining anything? I forgot this one part. After the, I forget when it came through, but I was in this space kind of, and I was like, I don't want to say in a corner, but it was a smaller area, and I felt energized. I felt uh, I was processing things properly, like I was in a good space, and then I turned and I was open very far to this vastness, and I felt like I got hit by a fucking freight train, like totally drained. My head was, almost felt like you were sick, a cold or a flu or something, and it was just like, oh, so all that, energy out there was draining, and that's no different than us just flipping through like mindless things. That are we gaining anything of this? This also comes into like consumption, consuming pointless things that aren't moving us forward, or benefiting us. And all that flash, is it benefiting us, or is it just entrapping us in this space? So, Spirit, to emphasize on what came through, have anything here further with the cards, please? Fear of change, death reversed. This could be authentic, coming into our authentic place. That's I've moved pretty far from there, so it's hard to think about where others are. But I think at like a grander scale, we do things to fit in, to be accepted. I'm not saying I don't keep my mouth shut at certain times to not like totally stand out, in public. Like I do keep some reservations, but I'm not moving in a place where I'm looking for acceptance. I'm not trying to make friends or fit in public. And I think when we come from a place where, going back to grade school, I would have done actions out of to fit in, to be accepted somewhere. And that's probably a scary place to leave if we've always been there, you know. And when I use this word, it shouldn't be taken the wrong way, but a codependency, it's a tribe mentality. It is being in a place that I guess there's someone to talk to. There's someone to validate our experience, of course. A lot of our experience is driven that way. Validation in our emotions, our experience. And if we were wearing a mask or, fitting in, not being authentically ourselves, our whole kind of experience is built on a falsehood in that way. And when we're, seeking validation, or I should say fitting in a way that accepts us, is that fulfilling us? Is that entrapment in a way? It's a presentation, of course, What else do we have here, Spirit? full reversed, stagnation. We could totally be in a place of that when we look at we're going through the motions. It's the same old, same old. You know, I go hang out with my friends. I don't know why I'm drawn to this more in a personal aspect, but I am. You know, it is we're maybe putting up this presentation and it's entrapping us, which until we let go of the fear of change, you know, will we get to joyful bliss? But in the interim, we're in stagnation. I don't know what that looks like for you. And again, it's a scary thing if our whole life, you know, it's all we have ever known. I say that a lot, and I get it. I'm not taking away from it. What's it going to look like? What's going to happen? Do I even know who I am? You know? Do I know deep down inside and I just don't express it because I'm afraid of the presentation? That perfect plate of food being a dumpster fire? Is it going to be a dumpster fire? No, because when we're in that place of it's for us, what does it matter? Nothing should matter at that point. I'm not saying do horrible things. I'm just, you know, and it shouldn't be looked at that way. I think we're just going to be ourselves. And we're going to do the things or bring the things into our world that benefit us, that uplift us, that replicate our authentic self versus that scrolling, that flash, that entrapment of what everyone else is going with. My word of the day was rule. And I pretty much spoke about, you know, rules that we instill in ourselves, our integrity, and standing by those morals. And that's going to be different for everyone. And that's okay. Everyone's is going to be different because they have a different view on everything. So how could they not be different? But by embodying, you know, our authentic self, whatever we stand for, or whatever, and living it, you know, presenting it, expelling it outward. I'm not saying from the rooftops, just embodying it, I think, I should say. What else do we got here, Spirit? And by doing so, that could be looked at selfishness. What was that? Six of Pentacles reversed. When we start to put ourselves first or make choices that benefit us, especially if we're in a place of, I don't know why I want to use this word, but complacency, maybe complacency of the surroundings, our experience, you know, what we're presenting to those close to us or around us. And when we start to pull that back and fill our cup, pour all that energy into ourselves to navigate our experience, to get to a better place, to fulfill, to grow, to expand. A lot of people that were benefiting from the presentation or the entrapment that we had ourselves in are going to be upset because they're losing something, which in essence, you know, they are the selfish person. They are the selfish one. And not to, what's it called? I don't want to say praise, but like lift you up and congratulate you, you know, on moving forward in your success, however that may look, you know, coming into your full potential in essence. What else do we have here, Spirit? King of Swords, rational. I look at this as being in our integrity. And that word kind of comes off strong as like speaking our mind, which maybe that's what we need to do. Standing up for ourselves. If we are coming to our authentic self and people are looking at us as selfish. Having the integrity and speaking our mind in a way maybe we don't need to speak. You know, we don't need to explain ourselves anymore. Maybe we came from a place that we had to explain ourselves or felt like we needed to validate, to get the other person to understand why we're doing something. When you truly come into that place, you let that go. You don't have to do that anymore. Let your actions speak instead of words. You know, no, we could say, People don't believe all the time what they hear or what they see. They have to experience it for themselves. And actions speak louder. That's where that integrity really comes in. I don't know if I finished that statement of saying it's not screaming from the rooftops, it's embodying it. It's being it. It's the action. You just you just be whatever it is that you believe in or fulfills you. You know, it's not so much with what we say. It's just embodying it. One last card here, Spirit. Six of Cups. Nostalgia. These changes aren't always easy. Letting things go in the past, our whole life that we knew, whatever that may look like, you know, walking away from that. Maybe we have to leave people, places, or things behind. Naturally, we would have to move forward. And during the process, change, again, I don't know if I said it, is uncomfortable. Growth is uncomfortable. At times it's painful, sad, bittersweet. And we can look back, you know, on what was, friend groups, family, relationships, and miss that. And let's just say, this is just an example, but, you know, furthering your spirituality in a way where dating in general, you're not going to mesh with the same kind of things. You know, friends is no different. You know, you can't have the conversations that you used to have. Those conversations are pointless. You know, the things people would talk about or get excited about or consume or complain about aren't valid anymore. They don't exist in your experience. Maybe this is also with family and coworkers and things. You know, society in general. People are talking about very minute and basic things compared to your new experience that you're walking into. And again, with that, it's not to be taken the wrong way, but codependency is more or less companionship, interaction in a way that you just want someone to talk to normally, but see, we don't talk that way anymore. It doesn't fulfill us. It's a presentation. It's an entrapment of our mind to go down to that lower vibration, and that's no slack of anyone that's there. It's just it doesn't feel good. It doesn't uplift. It's not interesting. It's not. There's no passion in it. There's no authenticity. There's no purpose in it. And I think I'll leave it there, guys. I wish you all the best. If you liked it, feel free to like, comment, share, or subscribe, and I will talk to you later.